Hey orchestra students, welcome to lesson 24. Today we've got a lot of material for you. We've got a song in our packet called Rigadoon. We're also going to learn by ear something called burnt cross buns, and we're going to be playing page 33 in our book. The main theme of today's lesson is integrating a new finger pattern for a new note name called C natural. So we'll be covering how do we play C natural, what's the finger pattern for that note, what does it sound like, what's the difference between C natural and C sharp. For your homework this week, everyone needs to upload a video on Flipgrid of themselves playing just the first line of Rigadoon, which is very short. And you can use the timestamps below to find your lesson start time based on your instrument. Go ahead and pause and gather what you need for class, including your book and your Packet 3 online, and regroup when you're ready. Let's get ready to play page 33 in our book 1. Page 33 is going to show you your fingering for this new note, C natural, and it's going to show you what the note head looks like on music notation in the staff. So looking at the picture at the top of the page, you'll see that for violins, it's asking you to put those 1 and 2 fingers touching, and we call that a half step when they're like close like that. Previously we had our 2 and 3 touching. Now to play C natural on the A string, we want to get that second finger touching the first finger. And you'll see that in the diagram at the top of the page. Then there's that natural symbol in song number 130. It looks like 2 kind of boxes upside down together. That natural symbol is going to cancel out the sharp, so it'll make the sound like this. See if you can match that sound at home. Make sure your second finger is not on your normal tape. It's a half step away from your first finger now, so slide it back. Hopefully you're matching my sound to make that C natural note. In the next song, number 131, we're going to explore the sound of D to C sharp, which is a half step, and then D to C natural, which is a whole step. The whole step should have a bigger gap, both in the spacing in your fingering and in the sound that you're hearing. So listen while I play 131, half step, 3, 2, 3, where 3 and 2 are touching. And then the next measures is going to be 3, low 2, 3. Listen while I play. That was a C sharp. That's C natural. That was C sharp. And that's C natural. So why don't you try number 131 on your own right now and listen for the difference between the half step, D, C sharp, D, and the whole step, D, C natural, D, where you slide your second finger back to touch your first finger. Pause and practice number 131 on your own. One more song we can learn by ear before we move to Rigadoon. We can play Burnt Crossed Buns, where we're going to go C natural, B, A, and it'll sound like a sad version of Hot Cross Buns. Recall, Hot Cross Buns, if we played it on the A string, would be C sharp, B, A. Well, that's lovely. Let's try something called Burnt Cross Buns. We left them in the oven for too long. Oh, so sad, now they're burnt. And it's going to sound like a sad version. C natural, B, A. no time was my second finger on that previously used tape. That's our C sharp position. No, so slide it back. No tape there, but you can do it. It's a half step from your first finger. C, B, A, burnt, crossed, buns. Try playing that on your own with the new fingering. Second finger slides back off the tape into a new position called C natural. And we're going to need that new fingering when we move into Rigadoon in our packet next. Go ahead and practice burnt, crossed, buns on your own. C natural, B, A. So violinists, we're going to divide the song Rigadoon into 3 sections, and each section is going to be 2 lines long. So when I'm referring to section 1, I'll be talking about the first 2 lines of the song. Section 2 will be the next 2 lines of the song, and section 3 will be the last 2. The first section sounds like this. It has quarter notes, dotted half notes, and a whole note at the end. We start with our 3 fingers on the D string. 2, 3. That's our dotted half note. That's a slow count for 3 counts like this. 1, 2, 3. Use a slow bow there. From the beginning. 2, 3. 1, 2. Next line. Slow, 2, 3. Hold, 2, 3, 4. That last note with no stem on it is called a whole note, and it's 4 really slow counts with your bow. Slow, 2, 3, 4. So that's the first section of the song. It's 2 lines long, and all your letter names are written in the packet. All the notes are on the D string, starting with your 3 fingers on D. Let's pause and practice, and when you're ready, we'll regroup and we'll learn the second section of the song. The second section of the song is where we need to learn our new fingering for C natural. You look at the notes starting on measure 9 or line 3, and it's B, C, D, B, C, D. No sharp, and there's no sharp sign on the C position in the staff to tell us to play C sharp. So instead, we're going to play a new fingering called C natural. So alert, alert, in line 3 of the song and line 4, you need to perform a new finger pattern for your second finger. Previously, we put our second finger on our high 2 tape, where it would fall a half step away from your third finger. Now we're going to slide that second finger back to touch your first finger. Notice how there's no tape position for that second finger on C natural. Here's the C sharp. Slide it back to make C natural. So listen while I play lines 3 and 4 of the song. See if you can figure out how many times am I playing the C natural finger pattern. Count up how many times did I play a C natural in lines 3 and 4. Hopefully you counted up 6 times. There are 6 C naturals in that section of the song. So your fingering to start is going to be 1, low, 2, 3. Look at this big whole step between 2 and 3 now. And we sometimes call it a 1-2 pattern because your 1 and 2 are going to touch. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 2, 1, 0. Then cross over to your open D string. So let's have you pause and practice lines 3 and 4 of the song and regroup when you're ready to move on to the last section. And we're on to the last section of Rigadoon. It's the last 2 lines of the song, lines 5 and 6. You'll probably notice as you look at your notation, there are more of those C's, more of those C naturals. There's no sharp sign over that C, so we have to perform our 1 and 2 touching, C natural. Listen while I play the last 2 lines of the song. So the last section of the song is probably the most interesting in terms of rhythmic variety and even having like that string crossing at the end where you hop your first finger across the string. So have a lot of fun and enjoyment in learning this last section of the song, which is the probably most diverse and interesting. So there's a special symbol at the end that says D, C, all fine. And if you play another instrument, maybe you've learned about this before, in Italian, it's short for da capo al fine. Da capo means the head or the cap, and so it's asking the musician to go back to the beginning of the song. Da capo means go back to the beginning, to the top. So when you would finish the last line of this song, then you'd see D, C, al fine. You'd go back to the beginning, line 1, almost like it's a repeat sign, and you'd play until you see the word fine, which means finished, you're done. And you'll see fine at the end of line 2. So there's a little bit of a roadmap to follow as well in this song. Let's take some time to pause and practice lines 5 and 6, the most interesting part of the song, with your C natural, and then regroup when you're ready to do a play down of the whole song. Time for a play down of Rigadoon from Packet 3. We're doing the whole song with our C natural fingerings and with our D, C, da capo al fine. Setting up G on the D string. 1, 2, ready, go. Let's be sure to have everyone complete their Flipgrid video of just playing the first line of this song for me today for your homework. If you have any questions, please send me an email. I always love to hear from you. And until next time, happy practicing. All right, cellists, let's open our books to page 33. We're going to learn a little bit about C natural before we play it in the song Rigadoon. The top of page 33, there's a diagram that shows you what your fingering is going to look like in your left hand, as well as the placement on the fingerboard. Song number 130 is just C naturals the whole time. So you can try and match, listen and match my sound, listen and match my fingering. You're going to take two fingers, your first and second finger, and put them on the A string. First finger will go on your first finger tape, check it, and then about an inch away, you'll drop your second finger. You will not use your third finger here, and you will not use that third finger tape at all. Listen and try and match my sound. Number 130. That's our C natural, and our natural symbol, which cancels out the sharp, is that box with kind of two lines on either side of it next to the note head. Song number 131, we're going to try playing both D to C sharp and then D to C natural. And it'll sound different, and you'll need to use a different fingering for each. So first we're going to play D, C sharp with your three fingers, and then back to D. Then we're going to play D, C natural with your second finger, and then back to D. 4, 3, 4, lift, bow, 4, 2, 4. Listen for the difference in the sound between a half step and a whole step. The whole step should sound more spacious, and there should be more space actually in your hand between 2 and 4. That was C sharp. That was C natural. So I hope you're hearing the difference in sound. Try pausing and practicing number 131 on your own. The last thing we can do to reinforce the C natural finger pattern, which we will need in Rigadoon, is to play burnt cross buns on the A string. Burnt cross buns is the sad version of hot cross buns. We left them in the oven for too long and now they're burnt, and it is so sad. So it'll sound like this. C, B, A. Instead of C sharp, B, A, we're going to play 2, 1, none. Listen while I play and then try it on your own. Burnt cross buns. So we're engaging our ear to hear that C natural as a half step from our first finger with a new finger pattern. Try burnt cross buns on your own, and then regroup when you are ready to learn Rigadoon from Packet 3. We're going to divide Rigadoon into 3 sections, grouped by 2 lines at a time. So the first section will be the first 2 lines of the song. Listen while I play. So the first section is pretty easy. It has all familiar notes on the D string. Some rhythms that might be unfamiliar are that dotted half note, which adds half the value of the given note head, so it's a 3 count note. G, G, F's, E, D, 2, 3. So for a slow bow like this, 1, 2, 3, that's your dotted half note in the second measure. Another maybe new rhythm could be the whole note at the end of this section. G, 2, 3, 4. The one without any stem on it goes like this. 1, 2, 3, 4. So go ahead and pause the video and practice just that much. Now on to the next section of the song. It's going to be lines 3 and 4. Here's where we're going to use that new finger pattern that I talked about at the start of the lesson. So find your second finger, which we've almost never used before in cello. And this is going to be named C natural. We normally play our third finger, C sharp. Now we're going to lower that pitch by a half step in sound. No more third finger, and we're going to play our second finger. It's going to land about an inch away from your first finger. You can see in the video here, instead of 3, we're going to play 1, 2, and then up to 4. So please skip your third finger for all of the A string notes in Rigadoon. There are no C sharps. It's called a C natural. It's a half step lower in sound and fingering than your C sharp. And we know this because there's no C sharp in the key signature. There's only an F sharp. So listen while I play the second section. B, C, D, 1, 2, 4. Skip the third finger here. 2, 3, 4. 2, 3, 4. Listen carefully to find that C natural. Make sure you're really playing it, matching me. This would be incorrect. No C sharp, so please play 1, 2, 4, 1, 2, 4. And the cello I'm showing right now has no tapes on it, but at your home cello, if you have a tape for your first finger, great, put the first finger on it. There will be no tape for that second finger as you perform C natural. Skip the third finger and then go 4 onto your fourth finger tape if you have one. All right, so let's pause and practice the second section of the song and regroup when you're ready to learn the end of the song. Now on to the ending of Rigadoon, which I think is the most interesting part of the song. There's a lot of variety in rhythms, and there's a little bit of string crossing action. So this last section is going to be lines 5 and 6 of the song, and it starts with A, B, C, C, B, A, G, A, B, C, B, A, B, D. So you guessed it, it's going to be another instance of C naturals that pattern continues for the whole song, no C sharps. So the fingering is 0, 1, 2, 2, 1, 0, 4, 0, 1, 2, 1, 0, 1, 4, and then on to the next line after that. Listen while I play. This is line 5 and 6. I think the ending is so interesting. It's so cool. You get a little string crossing action there, where you get to hop your first finger over the strings. There's one more special symbol called D, C, all fine. If you play another instrument like piano, you might have heard of this before. In Italian, it's short for da capo al fine, and da capo means the cap or the head. It's saying go back to the start of the song and play until you see the word fine, al fine, which means the end. The roadmap for the song is you play the whole thing down to the bottom, da capo al fine, immediately go back to the beginning like it's a repeat sign, and then play until you see fine, and then stop at the end of the second. So let's pause and practice the last 2 lines of the song, and then when we come back, we'll do a play down of the whole song. And before Ready for a full playthrough of Rigadoon with C natural, second finger on the A string, and da capo al fine going back to the beginning, and then repeating until we see fine where we stop. Setting up G on the D string. 1, 2, ready, go. Don't forget to submit your Flipgrid homework, recording a video of yourself playing through just the first line of Rigadoon. If you have any questions or concerns, please email me. I always love to hear from you. And until next time, happy practicing.